You know, sometimes I still, like, contemplate, wonder, like, really just contemplate the existence of my life about why I even asked you to start this with me.
I mean, that's a legitimate question and a legitimate concern. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe you shouldn't see someone about that.
Like, yeah, like, talk to a therapist about, like, hey, you know, I'm terrified of the paranormal, and you want to know what I just did? I just contacted my BFF and was like, you know what we should do?
Yeah.
We should start a paranormal podcast.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as I was doing the research on this first topic, it was late at night, and I was, like, so excited, right? Like, I was doing all the research. And then I just started getting so paranoid.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm like, did something just walk down the hallway? Like, why am I doing this? Like, I am losing my mind because it's freaking me out reading all this god-awful haunted stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, this is it. This is probably going to be for, like, maybe the next year, like, to commit to this.
Yeah.
This is my life now. So, like, I've made, like, a guideline of, like, I can't research when the sun goes down. Like, it has to be, like, 2 hours before the sun goes down.
Yeah, because, I mean, the existential dread can't set in until after the sun goes down. It's just a rule of the universe. So, like, researching during the day is fine because you're like, oh, it's sunshiny outside. Ghosts aren't real. No, everything's fine.
The light shines the truth on the lie of ghosts. But then when the sun goes down, it's like, no, ghosts are real.
It's like, oh, my house just settled. That's a demon.
That's a demon.
It could be. You don't know.
Listen, I don't want to talk about the ghost in my house being a demon. I just want it to be a ghost, not a demon. I don't want it to go to that level.
I don't know. You don't know what happens in, you know, spooky places.
Bottles get flipped.
Right, yeah.
Bottle
flipping.
Bottle flip bullshit in your room, and you come in and there's a bottle in the middle of your room completely flipped over.
Yeah.
It was not my cat.
Yeah.
Even though my dad tried to argue that. It was a bottle pulled out from the center of the pile, center of the recycle pile, pulled out in the center of my room.
Yeah.
Upside down.
Yeah, which obviously your cat did with his opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still regret not taking a picture of that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but I don't want to remember that happened in my room. If it was somewhere else in the house, I would have been like, hell yeah, pose for me, baby.
Right.
But no, not in my room.
No. Anything that happens in your, like, sanctified safe place, it's like, I give fuck. Nope.
I just drop
about that.
I just drop kicked that. Because, like, I walked in on it, and I was like, because I keep a little recycling patch in my room because my dad just throws plastic away, and that bothers me, right? Because I like to recycle, save the earth, save the turtles. Yeah. So I keep like a little stash. Like, I keep a Walmart bag, and I fill it up with plastics that I clean out, and then once it gets full, I tie it off and haul it to the recycling center when I go to the gym. So I had a little pile of bottles, and in the center of the bottle was, I remember it was a Prairie Farm chocolate milk bottle. Yeah. Right. So
I imagine Prairie Farm is burned into your mind forever.
Oh, I know exactly what that bottle looks like now. Upside down. So that particular bottle was pulled out of the center of the pile.
Right.
Okay.
So not even like the edge.
Right. And I actually tried to push the bottle back into that, and it was hitting the other bottle. So it had to have been picked up out of the stack. Right. So it was picked up out probably a 1.5 to 2 feet away from the pile, flipped upside down in front of my closet. And I walked in and I saw that. I was like, oh, hell no. I turned around and walked back down the hallway. I was like, I found my dad. And I was like, I need you to come here. I need you to come see this because I have to ask you something. Yeah. So he's like, what? So he gets up and follows me. I was like, did you do this? Did you do this? I need look eye to eye right now. Did you do this?
Give me your eyes.
Look at me. Did you do this? I need to know. And he was like, he knows how I am with ghosts.
Right.
He knows because this has been like a constant ongoing thing that has happened in this house, right?
Yeah, he's not just doing it to fuck with you.
No, he does not, because he knows how I get.
Right.
So he's like, no. He's like, it was the cat. I was like, you and I both know. I was like, did that cat grow opposable thumbs? I don't think so. Right. So he just kind of like, he's like, and I was like, okay. And I just drop kicked the bottle. And I was like, we're not doing this. Not happening. Not in my room. Again. So, because that was the first time something happened in my room. Because everything is, yeah. That was the first time something happened in my room. Yeah. So I was like, no, I don't want to take a picture of this. Yeah. This is not what I want to do right now. Because usually it's in the hallways or in the kitchen. Really just this intersection right here between the front door, the living room, the hallway to the bedrooms, and the kitchen. So
because the other end of the house is fine, right?
Yeah, that side, great. This side, where the bedrooms are.
Right, of course.
No. So don't mess with that. So my father knows how I am with the paranormal because, this has been going on.
Right.
Especially
it's not new.
It's not new.
Yeah, no, I remember the first time I came here. Like, you've been
asked you to come with me because I was like, I'm home alone. I hate this.
Yeah, and you were like, hey, so, like, you told me stories before, so, like, I had a pretty good background of, like, things that had happened or whatever, but you hadn't told me where they happened.
No, I did that on purpose.
Right, so, like, the first time I walk into the house, I'm, like, petting all over your dumb dog, and I'm like, okay, this dog's great, everything's fine. I'm sitting on the floor
I remember
with my back toward this hallway that we're talking about.
Yes.
And everything is fine, and then all of a sudden, all of the hair on my body is like, everything is fucking awful.
I was watching you to see if you were gonna look.
Dude, and like, I turned around and there was a light on in the hallway and everything was fine.
That light stayed on.
It's like a normal fucking hallway, right? Except, like, something freaked me out, and I was like, I don't know why. And I don't think I told you about it until later, but I was like, hey, where's the spooky place in your house?
The hallway.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's the hallway. That makes sense.
Yeah, It's real creepy.
Yeah.
It's just the hallway, wooden floors. You know, we redid the paint probably like less than 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a pretty normal house. Everything is fine, but it was dark outside and spooky.
Yep, so it's dark, so that's why we don't do podcast research
when it's dark times.
Yeah, so I ended up officially... I know I had to, like, mention in passing to my dad, we're starting a podcast. And he was just like, okay, great. And walked off. So I was like, all right, I need to, like, one-on-one. Like, give me your eyes. We're going to talk about this.
Yeah. Every conversation with your dad has to go that way. Give me your eyes. Look at me.
Look at me.
Tell me.
Make sure you're acknowledging my existence. So I knew exactly how this was going to play out. So I was like, I'm okay with this. So I'm like, hey, I'm starting a podcast. And so he, like, you know, all right, what's it about? And I'm like, ghosts. Just like that, with that face. And I knew when I said that, he was going to be like,
what the fuck?
Why? Why? So he gives me that face of like, are you shitting me? Like, are you serious? Because he knows he's having flashbacks of like all the shit that's happened in this house.
Yeah.
So he doesn't say anything. So I'm like, well, you know, like haunted places, ghosts. Yeah. And he's like, are you shitting me? He's like, you're a chicken. You're terrified of ghosts. Why are you making a pot? He's like, there was a grasshopper in your room the other night and you were in here screaming. He's like, ghost grasshopper, ghost grasshopper, ghost grasshopper. And
which, to be fair, you did send me a picture of that grasshopper.
Fuck that grasshopper. So he just says that and walks down the hallway. And of course, I'm just laughing. And I'm like, but you're not wrong.
That's the hurting part.
So I told him, but I don't think he's happy because, you know, he knows how I get because he's the one who like has to deal with the light being on at night and this, that, and the other. But now I get to the point where I'm like, I don't care. I'm 26 years old. I can't handle not losing sleep. I'm just going to roll over. I don't care. Like if it happens, I'll get over it. It's fine.
Yeah, turn the fucking light off when you're done. I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah, just
pay the rent. If you're going to
flip the bottle, like if you're going to turn off the sink, pay rent.
Yeah.
If you can manifest and walk down the hallway, pay rent.
Yeah, I mean, although if they turn off the sink, that's saving you, like, that's saving on your water bill. So, I mean, that's polite, I guess.
That's what I told my dad. Because, like,
you know, if they turn it on, that's where the issue is.
That's where the issue is. Like, don't waste the water. Save the turtles, please.
Right.
Like, don't do that. So.
You know, fun stuff. Yeah, so, the point is...
It's fun, but not when it's in your house.
Right, yeah. No, when it's in somebody else's house, okay, great. Like,
let's bring the Ouija board. Let's bring in the little radio. What's it called? The radio?
Which radio? The Spirit Box?
Yeah, Spirit Box. Yeah, that one. That I'm not going to make.
You gotta fucking make me one. Please?
I'm upset because I know how to make it.
Right?
And I don't.
It'd be so good.
I think it's because it's loud. That's why I don't like it.
Oh, yeah, no, it's super loud and, like, spooky just in and of itself. Because, like, the scanning through radio frequencies, like, you'll catch bits of, like... radio stuff. So it has to go at such a fast pace for it to not trick you into thinking, oh, somebody's saying something, and they're actually not. So, yeah. But, yeah, make me one.
We'll talk about it.
Yes.
We'll talk about it.
Gimme. I won't do it in your house. Okay?
In mine?
I won't do it in your house.
I thought you said you were going to do it. I was like, get out.
No, you'll never make it for me if I do it in your house.
Like, one stipulation. We'll talk, like, maybe Christmas time I'll make it.
Okay, that's reasonable. Cool.
You can't do it in my house, please. Okay. Don't make it worse.
No, I'm not doing that in your house.
I need to stay here till after the pandemic. Like,
No. We'll go to like a haunted ass cemetery or some shit.
The witch cemetery down the road.
Yeah, we'll do that. And maybe contact the owners and see if we can like go there and do that.
Yes, respectfully, because I'm thinking like, oh, we're gonna get murdered. That's nice.
No. That is the opposite of what I want to do. I want to like Zach Bagans this shit and like
legitimately, legally, maybe get like law enforcement nearby. Maybe like,
or just let us sign waivers to like stand on your property. And
just stand,
do stuff. That's it. Like, we're gonna fuck with anything. Just I want to see if I can talk to some spooky stuff.
The spirits.
That's all I want to do. So yeah. I would do that because I used to do some like dumb shit and like break into things when I was younger, like haunted places.
Oh god.
So
why?
Like
why? Like the thought, like breaking into a place to be like, oh look how cool this place is, great. Not breaking, like
intentionally haunted.
From my biased opinion of fuck anything that's haunted.
Right.
Why would you break into a place that is haunted?
Because what
is the mindset? Let me into your brain for a second. Tell me.
When you're like 16 or whatever, I don't even remember how old I was, but whenever you're that age, you're like, oh, number one, I am invincible. Number two, I've seen all this stuff, like, you know, fake things in movies and whatever, and like you can tell it's like CGI. I want to see like real stuff, you know? Like I want to see what that is, what happens, like, because I'm a very empirical person, so if it's not if like I can't weigh, measure, or count something, it's not real. So I want to see it happen. I want to like be able to physically see it, like with my eyeballs. So that's why I was like, hey, let's go into this super spooky house in this super spooky what was it? It was a field. It was a field that had like cows in it. And it was an old farmhouse.
Oh, okay. Right? I was about to say, like, why is that spooky? It's just a field.
Bro, old dilapidated farmhouse, right?
Okay,
like, This was a place that's behind my mom's house. So, yeah, like, this farmhouse...
Where?
It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, I was about to say, because, where behind your mom's house?
Bro, I will get there. So, it was my brother and I, and both of us, like, grew up. My mom's not overly, like, let me tell you about all the spooky stuff I've seen, but she thinks it's real. We've had a couple of conversations since where it's like, oh, okay, yeah,
if your mom thinks it's real, then it... Right. Oh, God.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, God. So, because she's not the kind of person that you would expect to think any of that's real.
No, I actually didn't. When you said, like, she told you stories, I was like, what?
Oh, yeah. So, like, I didn't have any idea. My brother and I went out in this field. I was like, God, I guess I was younger than 16. I think it was maybe, like, 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. And... we go into this field, and we're walking around, and we see this old-ass dilapidated farmhouse, right? Like...
what kind of farmhouse?
It's just dilapidated. Like, it's small. It's all... fuck you. Don't make fun of my words, you dick. It's a real word. Dilapidated.
I'll take your word for it.
Do you want me to define it? I'll Google it.
No, it's fine.
So, we walked out to this farmhouse, and, like, there was no steps... like, it was wooden. There were no steps up to it because they had rotted away.
Oh, okay.
So, like, it really old. So we end up climbing in through a downstairs window, right? Because that's a good idea. So,
okay.
This thing, it looks on the inside like it was maybe abandoned in the 50s or the 60s.
Okay.
And I'm like, how the hell is this thing still standing, number one? But number two, like, the stairs, because it was a 2-story farmhouse, you couldn't go up the stairs to go to the second level because they had just rotted. But
why are all the stairs rotting in this place? Okay.
Right? So... everything downstairs was all, like, it was dust covered and it was dirty, but it was still put together. Like, there were still paintings on the walls.
But the stairs rotted out.
Right.
Okay, I'm still on the stair.
That's
issue,
fine.
Okay,
I'm thinking about it. It's like, okay, that's really crazy because there was a rug on the floor that you couldn't tell what the pattern was, but it wasn't rotten. It hadn't deteriorated any further.
That's still gross.
Yeah. And then there was, like, these wingback chairs that you could still tell what the, like, old material was. There were still plates in the cupboard. And, like, it was crazy.
Wait, so did these people just, like, straight, like, I have no idea. This place and walked out?
I have no idea. That's what made it so sketchy, because I was like, I don't understand. Because, like, we didn't go in there thinking, oh, this place is haunted. It was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. Let's go look at it, because we like old stuff. That's nifty. Let's walk in. So, we're looking around, and, like, there's, of course, a chimney, because it was old and, you know, fire stove thing, iron stove thing, whatever. So, it looked like...
fireplace.
Yes, that word. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, like, it looked as if some of the shingles on the top of the house had come down through the chimney, like that part had collapsed down and in.
Yeah.
So, like, the only thing that, besides the dust and the dirt on the inside in the living room, that made it look like, you know, it's not just not been cleaned, was the inside was covered in like shingles and dirt and stuff from down through the chimney. And everything else was fine. And my brother and I were walking around and we were just looking at stuff and we're like, oh, this is really cool. That's weird that like some of the cabinets are open and then there's like plates and stuff still in there.
Yeah.
You know, that's really strange. So we're just standing there looking around. My brother goes into the living room and I'm still standing in the kitchen, and no shit, one of the cabinet doors creaks open. And
goodbye. And that's it.
Bro, no, like, I stood there.
Wait, no, it gets worse?
It gets worse. Like, the cabinet creaked open, and then, like the cabinets weren't flat, like how they would be, because, you know, they were old. They had, like, sunken in at the back a little bit.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, all of those plates that were kind of tilted down toward the back of the cabinet fell the fuck out onto the floor. So, I don't know what to do. I'm just
panic
there,
and
like,
run out. That's what you
what's
do.
Happening? Like, I don't understand what I just saw. My brother comes running in and is like, what the fuck did you do? And I'm like, I haven't moved. What do you mean? And like, it's the middle of summer. It's like 90 degrees outside. I swear to God, it felt like it was 65 in there. Like,
ooh,
walking into my apartment cold.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah, cold.
So, plates are on the floor. They're all shattered. I'm like, I don't know what just happened. And I'm kind of freaked out. And my brother was like, you didn't do that? And I was like, did you hear me move? And he goes, no. Because the floorboards are old and creaky. And he was like, okay, let's go home. I was like,
the time to leave.
Okay, that sounds great. So, like, I didn't scream, but I was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, I've never expected something like that.
Wait, so, like, did you watch that happen?
Yeah.
I would lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. So, like, it wasn't like they all got pushed out at once either. It was like somebody had, like, put their hand underneath and started tilting, and they just fell out one at a time. So.
Out the closest window. That's what you do. That's the appropriate response is, all right, where's the closest exit? Window? Cool, out that.
Yeah,
right now, head first. Yeah. Straight through the window.
So that was my earliest paranormal experience that I can remember that shaped me being like, oh,
ghosties.
That was fucking crazy. Let's see what else happens. So, here we are.
Thankfully, nothing in my house has ever been to that level, like destruction.
Yeah. Circling back around to why you've never seen that house. So in that new neighborhood behind my mom's house, that was the field, right?
Okay, and that's what I was going to say, is those houses.
Yes.
So obviously the houses have been built on the field.
So there is a tree that was standing next to the house. It was the only tree in the whole place, right? So I know exactly where that house was. I know exactly where it sat. It was next to like a little brook, like exactly where that bitch is. So there is a house that is built, like they demolished that old farmhouse. That tree is still fucking there.
Yeah.
And then there is a house right smack dab in the middle where that house was.
Well, that house is now haunted.
That house has been sold 6 times. Yeah. Fun fact.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yes. It's haunted.
Yep.
That's all I needed to know.
So here we are. Yeah. Because the fucking china plates that had little pink and blue flowers around the outside. Like, I remember what those bitches look like. Because, like, slow motion spilling out of the fucking cabinet. Like, onto the floor. So, that's my ghosty story. That was my first paranormal experience and why I was like, oh, yeah, this shit's real.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Let's look into it a little more.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was scary.
Like,
it was wild.
This house was definitely my first paranormal. So, like, the ghost that I've been talking about is definitely, like, what I'm referring to in this house. Because even growing up here, like you said, like, having that eerie feeling, like, it was eerie as hell.
Oh, yeah.
It's all, like, I hate going to my dad's room for some odd reason. It's worse in my dad's room.
Yeah.
So I don't go in there that often. So I think the actual first experience that I had is what I told you with this ghost, is that I was sitting at the table. It was like my freshman year of high school. So like I was 14. Yeah, it was before I was, I was 15 because I remember I had my license and I was like, I want to leave. So I was sitting at the kitchen table and my binder was open with my homework. And I was doing my history homework, U.S. history. I remember it. And I remember my binder was out and I'm really particular about how I place things on the table because I want to be able to like reach and there it is. And like, I just have a habit of doing that. So I remember my phone is always out on the table, like up on the table. So binder open and my phone is at the top left corner of the binder.
Yeah.
So that's there. I'm working on my homework and my headphones are on. And I remember thinking, oh, I need my book for this. I don't remember, so I need to go get whatever. It's in my room. So get up from the table, and I walk down that hallway.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing through my music on my headphones the sound of like what I thought in my head was a plastic or TV remote hitting the ground, click clacking across the hardwood floor.
Yeah.
And my dad saying something. So I kind of chalked it up to something like my dad dropped the remote and yelled, "Oh, damn it," whatever. Mm-hmm. So I come back and I've got my book. I sit down and I notice my phone is missing.
Yeah.
And I think, the hell? So then I remember I hear the plastic hit the floor. So I get up and I look under the table. Okay, mind
not
you,
like to the side.
No, like mind you, I walked back to the table and I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. So I looked under the table and there is my phone. Okay, my Alias 2. Okay. I remember what phone it is.
So what happened is your phone phased through the table is the only explanation to me.
It just vibrated at whatever frequency and went through the table. But no, it wasn't. Yes. It wasn't. I mean, if it bounced.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But
it wasn't like exactly underneath. It was further under the table.
Okay. Whoa, that's worse.
Right? It was uncomfortably under the table, like farther away from where I was sitting. So I take off my headphones. I see my phone on the floor. I'm like, what? So I pull off my headphones.
Yeah.
Ask my dad, and he's sitting right there behind me, but the wall in the positioning of the couch is in such a way that he could not have seen it, but easily heard it.
Yeah.
So I take a couple steps into his view, and I'm like, did you knock my phone on the floor? Like, I know that's a dumb question, but like, what? My phone is under the table. He goes, no, that was me yelling at you. I thought you threw your phone under the table like you were mad or something. I was like, no, I wouldn't throw a $500 piece of technology out of frustration. But
besides the point.
But besides the point was not me, because I was down the hallway getting my book, and he was like, and we're getting up now. Okay. So he gets up and he was like, wait, what do you mean it was under the table? So I show him where it was under the table, and he's like, that doesn't sound right.
Well,
so he asked me, do you have any text messages? Like, do you have a phone call? And I'll open my phone, because that was what my first, it burst off the table, right? So that was my also first thought. So I checked my phone. No one's texted me. No one called me. And I was like, well, let's see what happened. So I put my phone back on the table how it was.
Yeah.
And he called it, and the phone would just vibrate in a circle. It would just spin in a circle, and it wasn't moving any direction. So
yeah. Oh.
That was the first real one for me. That was all that I needed. Of course, that's what stemmed from like my dad knowing that I hate ghosts, because I was a wreck after that.
Oh, for sure. Well, I mean, also you were young, and that's in your home.
In your home.
Yeah, for me, my experience was spooky, but I mean, it was
not in your home.
Yeah, it was like a quarter of a mile from my house. It was like it's enough distance. I don't have to worry about it. That's not a big deal. Like, whatever.
Yeah. It's like at my kitchen table.
Yeah, no,
really sucked.
Which is like 20 feet from your room.
Yep.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks. Well, that's what I said. So that was a light on night. That was lights on. Yeah. Shut door.
Yeah. That's oof.
Blankets over the head. The demons can't see you.
That's true. I mean, if you don't move, they're like T-Rexes. They can't see you. Oh, God.
And with that, let's tell our stories. Ooh.
Who's gonna go first?
Okay, so I have the magical quarter that I found on the floor.
Oh, it's a magical quarter?
Yeah, because it was on the floor.
Oh, okay. Floor quarter.
Floor quarter.
Yeah.
I didn't find it on the floor, but I'm going to imagine I found it on the floor.
A floorter.
Okay. Heads or tails?
Tails. Because dead ass. You know, I say things just for the shocked expression. Yeah. I wish you guys could see her expressions, because they're so good. They
get me every time, because I'm like, did you say that? Because like, also it takes me a second, like, that ass, it's a coin. What do you Oh,
tails.
Because like in my head, little 15-year-old me is like, it's an eagle. What do you mean, that ass?
That eagle's ass, you know what I mean? No. No one knows what I mean. It's fine.
Okay, all right. What'd you say?
I said tails.
Okay,
tails.
Don't say, okay. I miss. Heads, I go first.
Tell me that story. Try and spook me. See what happens.
All right, here we go. So, the story that I brought to the table today is actually my favorite story. It's my favorite place in the whole wide world. And I say whole wide world because it's actually not in the U.S. I'm going to say this. Okay. And it's going to be wrong. Because Ghost Hunters International went here. Yeah. And I tried to listen to how it's pronounced. I can't. It's not going to happen. So
fair enough.
I'm going to say it, and I know it's probably not pronounced correctly. I don't have the accent. So it's called Houska Castle. Okay. It's in the Czech Republic. I have to remember, I had to think, like, what is the current term? Czechia, Czech Republic. It's there. So Houska, because I Googled it, because I was like, there's no way that's house castle, right?
Right.
You know, in romantic languages, like it's somewhat close to house. I'm like, there's no way Houska is house.
Right.
So I Googled it. It means bun or roll, like bread, right? Oh. So I was like, why is it? But roll makes more sense because the way that the castle is built is it's an actual circle, like a roll.
Oh, so bun castle. That's what we're going to call it. Cool. Bun castle.
Bun castle.
Sweet roll castle. There we go.
Sweet
Take
roll
it back to
bun castle. It's a perfect square.
Oh, square bun.
Yeah, so.
Loaf. It's a loaf.
No. Don't make bread references this whole entire time.
I'll do my best.
So the structure of what is left of the castle, because some parts of it were torn down over the centuries that it's been built.
Okay.
So basically the general structure of the castle is it's a perfect square, but there's a courtyard in the center.
Okay.
So it's open in the center and then just a perfect square.
What are those called? Battlements, ramparts, the things like surround the courtyard. Is that like a normal construction or do you know?
I have no idea. I don't. Okay. I'm not up to speed of constructions of castles.
Me neither.
But
I'm not a castle person.
So I'm gonna come back to that actually because this is not a normal castle. Everything about this castle does not make sense.
Okay, perfect. Even better.
So let me start with the history of how this castle came to be. So it is a Gothic castle, which it was originally designed to look like, built in the late 13th century, so the 1200s.
Yeah, that's a long fucking time ago.
So that's like an 800-year-old castle.
Jesus.
Pushing it. It's actually, I think it said one of the oldest castles to date that has been upkept as well as it has been. Yeah. So was built during, late 13th century under the Bohemian rule of, I'm going to butcher this, I terribly apologize. Ottokar, that's wrong. The second of Bohemia. Okay. So the location of this castle is 1 hour north of Prague.
Okay, that is a word that I recognize.
Yes, so everyone knows Prague. I still hope I'm saying that right. I don't know why I started off in a place not in the U.S. so I can pronounce everything wrong. But here we are.
It's fine.
So the original purpose of this castle was to have this Bohemian ruler have a centralized local castle to manage all of the royal estates. Okay. Right? So a centralized building. That's what it's supposed to be, right?
Okay, which is pretty common for the era.
Yeah, so, it makes sense. Yeah. Like, you have acres upon acres. You don't have landlines. You have cell phones. You don't have Twitter, right? So you need a whole building to manage your estates. How fancy are you? So the castle is built on a dead-ass hill, like a rock slide. Like, it's, like, if you look at it, if you pulled up a picture of it, it's on, like, wall straight down is the cliff. So it is built on a steep, rocky limestone cliffside. Okay. Over the years, so obviously it's not owned by the same ruler, right? Right. So the ownership of the castle has transferred a lot. Went through renovations, went through areas of despair for reasons. Yeah. So it's been renovated, I think, during the Renaissance era. Whoever was in charge, whoever ruled the land at that time, redid the castle more Renaissance-y. So it went from a Gothic to a Renaissance style. So now the house is owned by the castle, not house. The Bun Castle is owned by president of Skoda, which is also probably pronounced wrong. So the president of a company, it's a conglomerate of a bunch of industries in that region, bought the castle. Okay. So it would stop being passed around and just get it back up to date. Right. And now the descendants of that president own the castle. That person was also featured on Ghost Hunters International. Okay, that would make sense too. Yeah, so basically, as of now, you can tour the castle. Ooh. You can set it up. Their last name is McGee is their last name. Okay. They are managers of the property. The owner of the property doesn't really do too much with the place. Just put in these managers. And so you can contact the managers, fly out there and tour the place. So,
which I mean is pretty standard for when you own something and like it's just the thing you own. It's not something you're overly invested in. Right. So that makes sense.
When you own an 800-year-old castle, what can you do with it? Yeah, it's haunted. Let's do tours, right? Yeah. That's just
you can't renovate it and like send it, like let people live in it or whatever. So that makes sense.
So now the particular that was the whole reason. That's like a short like cliff notes about the castle. So that's what the castle was supposed to be built for. Okay. So now when you're also thinking castle, you're like, okay, like built in the 1300s, a defensive structure, like a point of interest, like there's a purpose for a castle being built. Actually, no. This castle does not make sense. Why it's there, nothing about this castle makes sense. So there's no water source to this castle.
What the fuck?
I think maybe currently, but when it was built, so I'm talking when this castle was built, there's no water source. There's no well, there's no running water. It's on a cliffside. There's no water, right?
Yeah, because everything runs down.
Right.
Not
up. So unless you have pumps, which, No strategic importance of why the castle was placed where it's placed. Like, it's 30 miles north of Prague.
Right.
So it at the time was not near any trading routes.
Yeah.
It is in the middle of dense forests, surrounded by swamps. No reason to be there. Like, it just is not of important interest to anybody. It's on a steep, like I said, it's on a steep cliff.
Yeah. No reason for it to be
on a cliff side, right?
Okay.
Dense forest, swamps. So there's also no defensive features about this castle. Okay. So it wasn't even built for war. Something that I noted, because you look at this castle and I kind of had a weird feel, like you look at it and you're like, there's something wrong with how with this castle.
Loth Castle looks a little strange.
So I found out what it is. Most of the windows are fake.
What?
Yeah. So they're there, right? Like there's glass on the side of the brick.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
So like you can't see in or out of the window. It's
some of the windows are real.
Okay.
Most of them are fake. Cause I read that. I was like, no way. And I pulled up a picture, and if you look hard enough and you find a good enough picture, it's just glass pane, a fake window just on the side of the brick.
That's wild.
It doesn't make sense. This castle does not make sense. It was also designed with no kitchen and for no occupants to stay.
Okay, so what?
There is no reason for the structure to exist.
Yeah, like literally it just sounds like a structure to just sit there. Like just, oh, here's my wealth and power. Let me show you the things.
So do you want to hear like the spooky reason why it's there?
Of course I want to hear the spooky reason.
So I keep mentioning that it's built on a cliffside, on a limestone cliffside. Okay. Yeah. Dating back to the 5th and the 6th century, as far back as that, okay, by the Celtic tribes that were currently there, and then in the 6th century, the Slavic people moved in and inhabited the area. A fellow historian, he was a clerical kind of guy, he wrote a history of the Czech lands in 1541, and he noted that these people from the 5th and the 6th century, these tribes and these nomads, also talked about this particular feature in this cliff.
Okay.
Before this castle was built, there is a gigantic crack in this limestone.
Okay.
That this castle is built literally on top of.
That seems kind of dangerous.
It is. Well, I mean, it was obviously structurally fortified before it was built over the crack.
Yeah.
So
okay, that makes me feel a little better.
So before the castle was built, there is notably in history a giant crack that nobody liked. Nobody liked this crack. Okay. And throughout the 5th, 6th, and up until now, the stories have stayed consistent of what people have seen around this crack. So it's just been coined gateway to hell, right? Because of the different things that people have seen. So folklore has said, so written in this History of the Czech Lands book, basically these people hated this crack. They constantly tried to avoid it. They never went with it because they would see ghastly creatures either flying out of it or crawling out of it.
Okay.
So
oh God. Yeah. So I've just the last 2 minutes, every time you say crack, all I can think is it's Satan's butthole. And the all right,
monsters so we're gonna call it hole. I swear to. I mean, I'm trying to create an ambiance. Of
I love it.
Creepiness, and you just shattered it with Satan's butt crack.
I mean, not necessarily. I think it makes it scarier, actually, because any sort of monster that comes out, they're crawling out straight from hell, is all I'm thinking. It legitimately scares me. I'm just...
Are you trying to normalize it in your head?
I have to. Okay. Yeah, I have to normalize it, or it gets me.
Okay, so basically creatures of, all different kinds, like frog head, half horse, just people being dragged into it. So these people don't obviously like it.
Right.
It's... People avoid it, go around it, don't go near it at night, you're going to get dragged in. Creatures will fly out of it, and they just hear unghastly noises coming from this area. They actually tried to fill it with rocks. So, just start yeeting in some rocks, right? It's so deep, no effect on it. They would just throw rocks into it.
That's even worse.
Yes, it's so deep, and just nothing's down there. They can't fill it, obviously.
I hate that.
Yes.
I hate that so much.
So... So that happened, right? During the construction of the castle, so now we're going to fast forward to back to the 13th century. This is still happening. There's still, everyone hates it, 500 years later. So at the time of the construction of the castle, they decided, let's lower prisoners down into the... Let's lower prisoners down into the hole, because that's a great idea, right? Because there's so much mystery surrounding this hole in the ground.
Well, I mean...
Not a crack.
Well, it does make it better. So thinking about like the 13th century and like what you would do to try and figure out how deep the hole is, what's prisoners down there, like it makes sense because those are people who have done something.
Well, it was prisoners
bad.
On death row.
Yeah. Okay. So that's even better.
Yes.
Like,
so it was
not that it's like good
any better.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Nah. I don't know. I kind of regret saying that, but yeah. Like
local prisoners from a local prison that were on death row were to be given a pardon. If they agreed to be lowered into the hole and report back what they saw.
I mean, hell yeah, I'd do that.
Which, I hope they were given a torch at least, because it's pitch black. I don't know if you've been in a cave.
How are you going to see anything if you can't see anything? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
So that wasn't mentioned. I just thought of that now, because I've been in a cave with no sunlight. You can't see.
Yeah, that is...
You can't see the hand in front of your face.
The darkest darkness you will ever see. If any of you've never been to a cave, please, for the love of God, go. Like, just... No, seriously. Like, go to a cave, and, like, they do tours all the time, and then they turn all their lights off, and they're like, this is how dark and spooky it is in the cave. Which is legitimately the darkest darkness you will ever see in your life.
It is. What is SpongeBob's... Oh, you never watched SpongeBob as a kid.
No, because I'm 85.
It's ultimate... What does he say? This is advanced darkness.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Advanced darkness.
So they lowered one in. They lowered a prisoner in.
Okay.
It was noted that this prisoner was a young man.
Okay.
They lowered him in the hole, and after several minutes, so I'm sure it took, some time to...
Yeah.
13th century, being lowered into a hole would probably take some time. The prisoner began to scream.
Okay. Yeah, that's reassuring.
When they brought him back to the surface, he looked like he had aged 30 years.
What the fuck?
White hair. So his hair just instantly turned white, and wrinkles all over his face. He had completely lost his mind and was just losing it so hard. They sent him to the nearest asylum, to which he died 2 days later.
Oh, Jesus.
That is the story of the gates of hell, of when they lowered someone in there.
Yeah.
There's no, I couldn't find any occurrences of they lowered someone else down into there. I can't imagine somebody else volunteering at that point.
Oh, God, no. Not after that.
God,
people would be like, I think I'd rather just die. Okay, thanks.
Die peacefully and not whatever the hell that guy just saw.
Yeah, because, you're going to die anyway, it sounds like.
So, after that point, stone slabs... plates, whatever they were, you can't see them today, were placed over that crack, and then once that was placed over it, then the construction of the castle started. So it was not, you can't access it. So there's no like trap door in the castle to see this crack. The slabs were laid down in place of the foundation, and then the castle went up on top of it. Okay. So the castle sits on top of the crack, but more specifically, the chapel that was a part of the castle sits over
that makes sense.
The crack. So basically, the folklore of this castle is that this Bohemian ruler built this castle to stop the demons coming out of Satan's butt crack.
Right, which, makes sense. You put a church over a butt crack, and you're going to be fine. Oh, goodness gracious. No, thank you. So that's a hard no for me, buddy.
Super, super hard no. So... chapel was placed over it, and so of course the chapel was decked out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Like all sorts of crosses.
Frescoes, actually. Ooh. So frescoes of Archangel Michael. Yeah. No, there you go. I knew you would know who it was, because I didn't. So there's a couple of notable frescoes that were painted in, you can Google these. So some frescoes in the chapel. So you can Google what they look like. There's two notable ones where Michael is fighting what looks like a demon or a dragon.
Okay.
But it's obviously like a demon, but it just looks like
both one and the same.
One and the same.
With Renaissance paintings,
yeah. Just weep, stabbing that dragon. I think when I looked at it, he was stabbing the dragon or the demon, like, straight down into it. Mm-hmm. And then in another fresco, it's him holding a sword.
Yeah. He has... Michael's... Swords? Yeah, Michael's the one that wields the sword.
Okay. So he's holding a sword in one hand, and then in the other hand, he is holding a scale that does the judgment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are two frescoes, and the crucifixion.
Crucifixion.
Thank you.
You're good, dog.
Oh gosh,
you fine. That's what I'm here for, bro.
I have dyslexia, so that's also doesn't help. And so, and St. Christopher are another fresco. So there's a couple of other ones, but those were the one of Michael definitely were the most notable one. But there's one more.
Okay.
There's one more fresco that does not make sense.
Okay, please tell me.
It is quite unique.
Inform.
It's a fresco of a half woman and half of a horse. Some people say it looks like a horse.
Okay.
And then some people says it looks like a lion where the woman is coming out of the head of a lion. It's not it's not like it's 13th century paintings, like realism was not there yet, right?
Right, yeah.
So it, depending on who you ask, it's definitely half woman, half animal.
Right.
Half creature.
Some sort of a chimera thing.
Yes. So which is weird because that is pagan.
Yes, very well. I mean, with the
very not pagan. It's Grecian. It's very not Christian-y.
Yes,
there was a specific.
Well, I mean, with I think around that time
was pagan around.
Correct me if I'm yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, someone. But around that time is when the Christians adopted the pagan calendar to kind of put them together so that we had holidays that lined up with the pagan feast days.
Oh.
So it would make sense that they were trying to incorporate other things from the pagan traditions, which is just anything that's not Christianity as a whole, put them together to get the pagans in the Christian camp and pull them together.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That makes more sense. Okay, so I know that centaur, because I found it here in my notes, it's centaur is pagan, so like half human, half, so, okay, so pagans around at the time.
Yes.
I wanted to verify it. I knew that you might have some inclination about that. But more weirdly enough about this fresco is that
it's pretty weird already.
It's half woman, which is interesting.
Yeah.
She is wielding a bow left-handed.
Ooh. What?
Left paw of Satan, which is hilarious because I'm also left-handed. So every time it's like, oh, left-handed Satan, I'm like, it's just
left-handed, bitch.
It's just left-handed. Like, you're just born that way. It's fine. So so at the time, anything left-handed is a sign of Satan.
Right.
So she's wielding a bow at a human, like at what is not half human, half creature. So it is a full-blown human being. So people have come in to look at this fresco and analyze it. It is the only fresco of its kind painted during that time period. There is nothing else like it worldwide.
What the fuck?
At the 13th century. So
does anybody have any idea who painted it?
No.
Or is it just
no. There's like, obviously 13th century.
Right. I mean, all those guys are dead.
But no. So I'm not gonna ask.
Or ladies. I don't know. It could have been a lady.
We're not.
I have no idea.
Or it could have been gender neutral pals.
That is also true.
That's also true. So no idea. Just it's there.
Wild.
And it's the only one of its kind. Like, there's nothing else like it in this world.
Okay, that one kind of spooks me a little more than anything else because it's
in the chapel.
Those empirical facts.
Yes.
Wild.
Yes. Okay. So that's so building the castle. Yeah. That was what's in place in the castle. This poor castle.
Oh no. This poor useless love castle.
Like I said, went through time periods of abandonment and then reconstruction.
As most do.
There was not good people that stayed in this castle. So obviously if it went abandoned and you came across an abandoned castle, you're just like, dibs, that's mine. That's for me. So a couple of not so good people that came to this castle. The first one that was, I found three not good people.
Okay.
One of them was the Nazis.
Oh, obviously. Yeah. I mean that actually makes so much sense to me, and I'll tell you when we get to the Nazi place.
I learned a lot about the Nazis and some of their stuff, and I did not know it was a thing, so we're going to have to delve into that in another episode. Absolutely.
Yes, conspiracy theory one day. Ugh, there's so many.
I know you love it. So, so in the 17th century, Swedish rogue commander... Swedish rogue commander. Yeah. Oronto and his mercenaries.
Yeah.
Stayed into this castle. I guess a lot of people know still about that gateway to hell.
Right. I imagine it's something that people just mention and talk about, just like any of your other spooky things that are around your home areas.
Right. So, I mean, if there was a giant hole to hell.
Yeah.
That is coined gateway to hell, and it's been around since the 5th century. It's in the Czech area is kind of smallish in comparison. So I'm sure the rumors of that are just, it's a constant folklore, whatever. So this rogue showed up with his mercenaries, occupied the castle. He was a black alchemist and a black magician. So when I say black, I mean not good. So like a white and a black. So black's not good.
Right, the darker stuff.
The dark, eternal life
Yeah.
It's not the good things you're not supposed to be doing.
Not eternal life when, like, Christians talk about eternal life. Eternal life is in, I will physically live on this plane forever.
And probably be gross. Because that's how that always works out. So with saying that, he was actually trying to find the elixir of eternal life at this place. Yep. So you can imagine with, black magic going on, all these negative forces, negative energy coming in. It doesn't add to the atmosphere of the gateway to hell, right? Yeah. So the mercenaries terrorized the locals in that area, for sure, right?
I bet those poor freaking people can't ever catch a break.
No, so if it's not, the demons flying out of the hole, out of the crack, it's, now the mercenaries occupying this castle that's on top of this gateway to hell. The Swedish road commander was killed by the locals. So they were just like, we're done with this. A couple of hunters snuck in and killed him through his window as he was, doing all this research. So
rise up. Get him.
Done with that. So that was there. So that's the first person that was notable. This, not necessarily a bad occupant, but somebody who actually wrote his experiences down and kind of published it in such a way. It was a poet. I'm going to butcher this. Karl Heinrich Maka. Okay. We're going to go with that. In 1836. Okay. Stayed at this castle. He was doing a tour of the area. I don't know why, but just doing a tour. Land. I don't know. I've heard it's pretty over in Europe. Yeah. Doing a tour of the land, and he at this time point in the timeline, the castle had been redone to have occupants stay. So now there's beds, now there's a kitchen. So now beautiful. It's actually renovated to actually have people in it and not be creepy.
Just sit there.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I imagine it's still pretty fucking creepy.
It's still creepy. Oh God. So this poet stayed there and he had a terrible dream and he wrote about it.
I'm not surpsurprised.
He wrote about it.
Oh, tell me about that. He wrote about it
to his friends. So his soul.
I already don't like it. Nope.
So he wrote about this dream, and he said in his dream as he was sleeping, his soul was pulled into the hell, that is the gateway to hell, so pulled down into this hole, and then transported into a mechanized future where he met a girl.
Okay.
I couldn't find the actual full-blown text. Okay. Maybe that's just lack of poor research on me, but I could not find it. Okay. It was theorized that he was pulled into the future.
Oh.
Into early 2000s Prague, because in the note it mentioned moving pictures in a small casket.
Okay.
Which anybody would, of this time period would be like, that's a TV.
Right.
And then he said that the poet in his message to his friend said that he was walking along sandstone cliffs with eerie yellow lights coming from all different kinds of holes in these cliffs. And he said that these were perfectly square sandstone cliffs. And now this person that I found this article, this website about this poet said that, and I also Googled it and it does make sense, the apartment buildings.
Yeah, I was thinking either apartment buildings
are perfectly square in Prague.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, even then windows are perfectly square.
Right. So eerie yellow lights would be the sodium bulbs that we have. They're more yellowy than anything. So.
Yeah. Oh, I hate it.
Yes. So there's also now like this teleportation to the future.
Also, we got to talk about time travel.
Yes, time travel too, of like certain locations in the world can do that. So this person, as he wrote about these details of his dream, it sounded like a futuristic.
That's wild.
Yeah. Said he was pulled specifically into that crack.
Right, in a mechanized future.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah. So that got real.
Yeah, I'm a little spooked.
Yeah. So then. About 100 years after that, so nothing really notable, because of course it's hard to maintain history as we all, I'm sure, are aware. The Nazis then.
Nobody's ever happy when someone says Nazi.
No, like
nobody's ever like, oh great, well, we get to talk about that.
You shouldn't be.
Oh
happy.
No, if you are, you can just fuck right off. But like if you're legitimately happy when someone says Nazi, just stop. Just don't. Nope. Mm-mm.
Okay, we'll establish that boundary on our podcast. So,
perfect.
So the during the World War II, of course, the Nazis occupied this castle because the lore of the land, the gateway to hell is here at this castle.
I mean, also with the previous history of someone looking for the elixir of life.
Correct.
Yeah.
Here. So I found out that the Nazis are into the occult.
Yes.
Did not know that.
Very
heavily. I knew that from my mother watching, Aliens on the History Channel, that the Nazis are definitely into supernatural research. I did not know, like, I knew that, but I didn't know it was called, like, termed occult. So
yeah, I mean, it's not something that history class teaches you, like, at all.
No one likes to talk about the paranormal.
No, and they just skim over a lot of stuff.
True.
So
there's a lot they did. So did experiments with interdimensional portals, like this poet being transported into the future, and strange physics tests.
Okay.
And again, because of this castle not having any strategic real reason to exist, it can that assumption can be made that the Nazis were there because there's no purpose to capturing that castle. Yeah, so I mean, it would give them an advantage if nobody would want to go after that castle if they were going to put research there. Right. Why are you in that castle? Yeah. We all know gates of hell. Like, we know what you're doing up there. Yeah, nobody's going to care, though. Right. And also, like, and if you also look it up on a map, it's also in the middle of nowhere. Like you 30 said, miles from Prague? Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, like an hour car ride. So, they're up there. They are doing their research. There's a bunch of other stuff that I did not particularly like reading that went on there. So, Nazis were there. But, of course, during the fall, they destroyed all of their records. So, of course, knowing what they were doing, results of the test, what they found there, destroyed, gone. We have no idea. So that's great. So gone. During present day reconstruction of the castle, as they were doing excavation into the courtyard, they found, I think, three Nazi soldiers that were executed on the property. Okay. Don't know why. They just found, they were doing a remodel of the courtyard and found 3 bodies, and they did a study on it. Identified. I'm sure they were still wearing some form of identification. Right. And they did a study on it. It was executioner style death. Wild. Yes. So, interesting. So, you can't get to the crack, obviously, because it's underneath. The foundation, the reason why that they won't do an excavation, because it's, 2020, just rip it up, right? Yeah. But because the Nazis were there, they placed landmines. Oh. And of course, if the Nazis don't want anybody else to discover what they found, what do? You place booby traps around it so no one else can get to it. So they won't. That's the most quintessential Nazi thing I've ever heard. Yes, landmines. So landmines and booby traps. So they won't do any excavation of just fear of hitting a landmine and losing the entire castle as a whole. Oh yeah, no, I completely understand. That creepy, sense. Good, not fun stuff. So you can't see the crack; it's completely underneath. So with all that going on and all of its history, right? It's haunted. Oh God, it's real haunted. Jesus Christ, no! So one of those things you told me would like haunt the fuck out of something. Like not all of them. Yeah. So even to this day, there are still reports of god awful things flying around, just even though there's supposed to be the structure on top of the whole. Right. People are still seeing like even UFOs flying around, black winged figures, half human, half creature stuff still roaming the area, right? Yeah. Of course, your stereotypical voices. Yeah. When you go into the castle, you hear people talking, and some reports say that it's very vivid. Like you can hear without audio equipment, like doing a recorded audio session. That's got to be hella powerful. So it's pretty active. Yeah. Some of the stuff that goes around in this area. So, and people can clearly make out what is being said by these ghosts. Like it's almost like people say that it's like the soldiers still talking about like prisoners, because while the Nazis were there, of course they had a torture chamber, and it's in the basement, and it's still there, and it's called Satan's office. Of course it is. Yeah, because that makes total sense. I wanted to do more research about why, because it's either called Devil's or Satan's office, is whatever one you want to use. There's a chair, and there's all kinds of Satan paraphernalia, like faces, occultists, I guess. So they kept all that stuff down there, and like there's a throne, and a bunch of other just straight like that's Satan, like that's demon stuff. Right. Like why is that there? So I don't know if they just brought that all in and set it up that way, but it's set up in a particular way. You can Google Satan's office and see like a throne, because I thought it was fake. I thought it was like some set up Pinterest thing of like, look at this creepy thing I set up and let me just tag it. No, it's what it looks like. It's really odd, and it's real scary. It's dark, and it's in like you have to go kind of through a smaller-ish hole, but it was the torture chamber. It's where the Nazis stored all of their torture equipment. Yeah. Not fun. So that's down there. We're going to come back to that in just a second. So because the hole is underneath the castle, right, and then the floorboards on top of it, there's reports of scratching.
Oh, no. Oh, that one gave me the goose chills. I don't like that one. I don't know why that one got me so much, but I hate it.
Specifically in the chapel. Like, you constantly
because
hear...
it's fucking on top.
Or it's rats. But, I mean, we could just say it's the demons trying to get out of the crack and into this world, which is why the castle was built in the first place, is to keep them there. So,
I don't like that.
People constantly report scratching. A very popular instance that happens in the castle is people and dogs, because apparently it's a dog-friendly area, and people could bring their dogs in.
I mean, I would bring my fucking dog to keep me safe. That bitch starts barking. All right, bye. See you later.
So anxiety is a very common thing among people. And it's not like you see a creepy castle, like, ooh, that's creepy. But a lot of people have noted, like, they'll get to the chapel or they'll get significantly farther inside of the castle and they get more anxious. And it's like, people report, I get to the chapel and that's where I just start freaking out. And even the dogs, even the McGee's who are managing the property, they said they brought their dogs in and they said very uncharacteristically their dogs started to act away. Going into particular places. They said that the dogs ran over to the torture rooms and started barking into the torture rooms. One woman said that she brought herself and her dog in, and her dog was totally fine. As soon as they hit the chapel, that dog was dragging her out of the entire castle itself. Not out of the room, out of the castle.
That's crazy.
So anxiety is definitely a very common thing of just, I don't want to be here, time to go, like, time to, like, we're going.
Well, I mean, like, people have this thing where when something triggers a fear response, it's triggered for a reason.
It's triggered.
Like, fight or flight. Either you're gonna kick the shit out of that or you're gonna run. And it just sounds like the deeper in you get, the spookier it is, and your fight or flight is like, let's fucking go.
It's like that seventh sense, like that real deep sense of, oh, no.
Yeah, something is wrong.
This is a no-fly zone.
Yeah.
Especially over, Satan's crack.
Oh, Jesus.
Gateway to hell.
I don't like it.
3 notable figures.
Okay.
Seen throughout... one scene is only Satan's office, but 2 of them are seen kind of throughout the castle. Okay. There's always a black silhouette.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Whether it be the same person, same ghost or not, it's definitely, you can see the silhouette, usually in different spots of the castle. The McGee's, the gentleman there, he said that he was in a particular part of the castle, and it was a room that is kind of like 2 stories tall, but it's completely open. Yeah. And on the second story is a scaffolding that goes from, like, one room into this current room I'm talking about.
Yeah, like, and then ballroom style.
And then out of the room. And he said that he felt really creepy, and he turned around and there was a black silhouette standing very clearly up on the scaffolding.
Yeah,
right?
like it was watching him?
Yeah, and then he said either it walked out of the room or just kind of faded out of existence. Other people have said that they've seen it walking around, and they've heard it talk.
I don't
clearly,
like that. Yeah.
Like, just clear as day, talking about something. Talking about prisoners, I think, is the most common, or like talking about like a work topic of whatever Nazis' work is. Yeah. So definitely black silhouette, speaking, walking around this castle. Another notable figure that I've seen that has also been seen by the owner of the castle is a woman in white.
Okay.
She doesn't say anything. Okay. I didn't find anything if she speaks or anything notable about her, but she definitely appears. There's a kind of a bar-ish area in the castle now, and she was seen there. She normally is seen there, but she's been seen in different parts of the castle. Okay. Now, with Satan's office, there's a figure that is only seen down there. Okay. It's probably he, forms near the chair that I was talking about, the Satan's chair that is very predominantly there in the center of the room. Yeah. It's a dark hooded figure. They coined him as a priest, so a dark hooded figure. So it's you can see it enough to know it's wearing a hood, wearing like a robe gown. Okay,
so are we talking like good priest or like bad priest?
Probably bad. I mean, I assume it's in Satan's office.
Yeah.
So
that was a dumb question.
It forms near the chair and then walks up out of the staircase out of the room and then disappears. Okay. And is only seen walking that area. Yeah. Okay. So that only happens there. They don't. I think some people have said they've heard it talk. Okay. Talking about torture. Yeah.
which
fun stuff.
Par for the course.
Yeah, par for that room, I guess. It's pretty hot. Like, it's a pretty hot area.
Yeah.
And even the owner, again, he said that he was sitting around a table with his buddies, drinking.
That's an awful place to drink, by the way.
Right? Let's gateway to hell. Let's crack open a cold one with the boys.
Yeah, crack. Dude, I gotta make jokes or I'm just gonna cry. It is what it is. I still gotta tell you mine. Oh. So, yeah.
Okay, we're almost done.
Yeah.
So he was sitting there drinking, right? Drinking his beer, cracking up with a cold one with the boys.
Yeah.
Don't say crack.
Cold brewski.
And he said that his beer moved across the table.
I don't like that.
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
I was drinking, not a beer. It was a milkshake, and it slid across the table. So, So I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that happens. Right. Gravity, you know, your chakras are out of line, whatever. Whatever you want to say it is. But then he said his beer got picked up.
Nope.
And everyone around the table saw it.
Yeah, no, I'm out. Because I can excuse, like, oh, no, it slid across the table. Is, buddy, how many of those you had?
Condensation. Like, it's a castle built on top of a gateway to hell. Like, it's probably off by enough degree to make it slide. But it got picked up.
No, I don't like that. No.
And he said that he grabbed it and put it back down.
I would not have fucking touched it. I would have been like, put that shit down. What's wrong with you? That is mine.
Completely.
I don't fucking touch the ghosty hand, boy.
Yeah, you touch the ectoplasm. So objects have been seen to move around. So like things, you'll come in and things are not in their place.
Right.
Telltale sign of a ghost.
Yeah.
And just completely, you know, in past the paranormal, we got the occult stuff. We got the elixir of life, the UFOs, to like time travel, teleportation.
Yeah. I mean, this place seems to have like everything.
Yeah, it's a little heavy. It's a little much. This is my favorite. It's my favorite place.
This is crazy.
I want to go here. Like, of all the places that are haunted, this is the one place that I'm like, I would go here.
Okay.
I've always just like, oh, it's the flying demons coming out of the crack in the ground.
I don't know about that, because I wonder also, like, that poses the question to me is like, how many cryptid stories are in that area? Like, how many...
Like, folklore?
Yeah. Like, how many folklore stuff to do with cryptids came out of that area?
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious, because, like, there's, like, the chupacabra and, like, other stuff like that. Of course,
that's... half human, half...
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Well, you can also always, like, look through different parts of the world and see, like, okay, the chupacabra is in, like, southern United States, Central America. But you can also see, like, similar-ish creatures throughout the world. So... Yeah. Definitely stuff stems from certain places. And what's come from there?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Flying demons.
Yeah.
The demons.
I don't like that.
No, so it's definitely hot and heavy. One thing I was curious about is, you know, we're fans of the ley lines. Right?
Oh, hell yeah.
The magnetic forces of the earth and monuments, larger, like wonders of the world.
Yes.
Like,
those things, like the pyramids.
The pyramids of Giza, and then what's the one in England? I'm drawing a blank.
Stonehenge,
thank you. So I actually was like, okay, wait a minute, this is between Giza and Stonehenge. I mean, look, it is not on a ley line.
Okay.
So I was just curious, and I just kind of want to explore that. It is not on a ley line.
Yeah. Wowzers.
Yeah, it's hot.
That's wild.
It's always interesting, because here in the States, we've only been around going on almost 300 years now.
Yeah. We're a baby nation.
So there's not a lot of history of ghosts, but when you have a place that's dating back to the 5th century to the Celtics... You gotta wonder.
Oh, for
like,
sure.
when the story is staying that consistent over that many centuries.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
That's bananas.
Is indeed.
I'm gonna be thinking about that place for a long time. Jesus.
But you want to know what I want to think about?
What?
Your place.
Oh.
Tell me your place. Because I know absolutely nothing about. I don't even know what your topic is.
Perfect. It's not as intense or honestly that spooky, like, as what you told me. There's a good amount of history and a good amount of, like, just information, but there's not that many, like, spooky ghost stories, which is kind of sad, but here we are. So,
it's okay, lay it on me.
Yeah, so the place I decided to go with was for the first episode is Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California.
Of course you picked that.
You're damn fucking right I picked that. So, of course, like, you know, the Winchester Mystery House is a big-ass house, right? Like,
I know... Let me just lay the groundwork for you. Yeah. I know absolutely nothing about this place.
Perfect.
Yeah, like, you saying the name of it, this is the first time I've heard of this. So.
Okay. Great. Perfect. All right. So let's start with the history of the house is actually named after the woman who built it, which is Sarah Winchester.
Okay.
So Sarah she was born in the 1800s, so quite a while ago.
So the house was built.
Not yet. Oh. We're starting with Sarah's history first.
Oh, okay. So it's around this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yep.
Go ahead.
So Sarah herself, she was born into a wealthy family, as was normal for the time. She was a very intelligent woman, which was kind of surprising. She learned...
Not common at the time.
Yeah. At least it wasn't encouraged.
True.
So... She learned 4 different languages. She was proficient in science, math, music composition.
Girl,
like
get it.
10 out of 10, right? So, of course, with the Western expansion during that time period, everyone was looking for, from the colonies, everybody wanted to move out west.
Also the gold rush.
Yes.
Okay.
So, people were looking for a more trusty, more brutal rifle. She ended up meeting this gentleman named William. And her maiden name was Purdie, so Sarah Purdie married William Winchester.
Wait. Is this the Winchester
gun? The Winchester.
The Winchester gun family.
Correct.
I didn't want to be dumb and ask that question.
No, you're fine. Yeah, that's who it is.
So this is who...
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
Great.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, you are on par. So, William's father was Oliver Winchester, who in 1873 created the Winchester repeating rifle. So, that is the rifle that is known to quote-unquote win the West. So, it was what allowed people to slaughter a mass amount of people, move out west, kill Indians, get them out of their way, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So.
Yikes. Okay.
Big yikes. The biggest yikes. So, just between 1873 and 1916, they sold over 700,000 rifles.
There were that many people back then?
Yes.
Wait, no, I gotta remember that people buy more than one gun. That's a thing that I have
that too.
Yeah.
That as well. Oliver was planning on giving the Winchester Arms Company over to his son, William. Completely normal thing. So they got married. Let's see. Lost my place in my notes.
Oh, come on.
Because that's how it goes. So Sarah and William got married. They ended up having a daughter in 1866 and named her Annie, which is just precious. Unfortunately, the baby had an illness to where it couldn't digest calories. It couldn't digest food. So it ended up dying 6 weeks later.
No.
Yes.
I hate that. That's so sad.
That breaks my heart. Very soon after that, she lost her father-in-law, Oliver. And then 15 years later, in 1881, William died from tuberculosis. And he had a long battle with tuberculosis, but at that time, unfortunately,
I was about to say, at that time, you're done.
Yeah, you get it. It's a slow decline until death. So, at the time of his death in 1881, Sarah inherited 50% stake in the company and was worth approximately $20 million at that time. So that's, I did the math.
Whoa. Yes, I was about to tell me.
$505 million today. And that was up front.
$505 million
in one lump sum.
That's half bill.
And then she had an upfront daily payout of $1,000 a day at that time, which is $26,000 a day today. So she was just making $26,000 a day.
Can she be my sugar mama? No, she's dead. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, if she wasn't dead, maybe. So, following that death of William, her husband, she actually funded the Winchester Chest Clinic at New Haven Yale Hospital and moved to California to start a new life. So,
chest clinic as in tuberculosis.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, chest, like an opening chest, but okay, got it.
Well, I mean, both are true. Both are the right thing you're thinking. You're welcome. But it's assumed that she did that out of number one, missing her husband, and then number two, to maybe try and make up for the mass loss of life over the blood money she just got. So, yeah. So that chest clinic is actually still functional today and still is here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it still exists. Okay. So in 1886, she moved from where she was living in, I believe, Connecticut to California, in San Jose, bought 40 acres of land that included this little quaint 8-room cottage.
Okay, because I was about to say, because I know a bunch of gun factories are in Connecticut, and I was like, there's no way that Winchester started in San Jose, California. Well, so I was like, it has to be in Connecticut, because I'm from there, and that's a weird, odd fact that I know about Connecticut, is the gun factories. How long did it take for her to get from Connecticut to California, San Jose?
I have no idea. Her husband died in 81, and she moved in 86. So
6 years.
I have no idea.
That's 5 years. Or 5 years to get, I'm sure it took
Oh, so long.
Months.
I mean, even with all of the money that she had, like...
Still months.
Yeah. So now we move into a little bit of folklore. Nobody knows for sure, but it's said that before she left Connecticut, she reached out to... Because this was during the spiritualist movement, where, you know, you would go to a psychic or you would go to somebody to connect you with your deceased relatives. So this was a common practice at the time.
In California?
In Connecticut.
Oh, like because that's common in California to still do.
Still,
but,
yeah. But just all across everywhere. Like Europe, here, wherever.
Okay.
During this time was just a spiritualist thing. It was sensationalized. So she went to folklore. She went to a spiritualist and then communicated with the apparent spirit of her husband, William. And William told her that the reason that their daughter Annie died was because of all of the blood money from the rifles.
I thought you were going to say the demons, and I was like, no, please.
No, not yet.
Okay. Not yet.
Yes.
Thanks. Okay.
So, because of the blood money and the people that were killed, their daughter died. The same thing for why he died was a vengeful spirit that caused him to get tuberculosis and caused him to die. So, through the medium, William warned her that the vengeful spirits would continue to seek her out. Every direct member of the family would be sought out, and she was the last remaining direct person. They would be sought out until every single one of them were dead. So Sarah had to, quote, build a home for herself and for the spirits who have fallen from this terrible weapon. So.
Wait.
Yes.
Is this the house where she, like, constantly had to keep building till she died?
Yes, it is.
Dope.
Yes.
Keep talking.
So she had to build this, like, big grand place. So she actually, here's where it is. She lived in New Haven, Connecticut, and moved from there to San Jose. So with the construction of that house, like building it, William told her that she had to build it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, could never stop, or the ghost would kill her. So if construction stopped at all, she would die. So.
Oh, God. That sucks.
That being the case, the building never ever stopped. Not until after she died. So 24 hours a day for the 38 years that she lived there, building never stopped. There was never an architect or a master builder on site. It was just a bunch of dudes building stuff. And, like, she would dictate sometimes, like, where she wanted things to be or, like, what she wanted. The builders recounted, like, it was the craziest thing because she would have them intentionally build staircases that went up to the ceiling. And there was no door there. Like, just to the ceiling. There would be doors that would open, it would just be a solid wall. There would be, like, all sorts of stuff that just makes absolutely no sense. Just like, there's spiral staircases into the ceiling.
To keep building.
Yep.
Damn.
And some of those were to confuse the ghosts.
I was gonna say that, but I was like, that's dumb.
Right?
That
sounds like it, right? Yeah. So there's even this one's my favorite part of the whole place, is there's a door that opens outside. Like, just to outside, and there's no stairs down, and it's on the 3rd floor, I think.
That's fantastic.
So it's just, you can open it up, walk out, just fall.
And fall through
right.
stories.
There's no, like banister, there's nothing protecting you from just walking out.
It's just a wall with a door. Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spooky, actually, ma'am. Okay, so the building's really just haphazard. So there's rooms with windows facing other interior walls.
I hate
and there's, like, windows.
that.
I hate that so much because, oh, God.
Oh, gosh.
It's kind of like what you were talking about with Houska Castle. Like, there's windows, but there's just a wall behind the window.
But in this one, there's a wall on the window.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. And vice versa.
Okay.
So there's staircases that go nowhere, doors that open into solid walls. So by the year 1900, the house was 7 stories tall.
Holy jeez.
With 161 rooms, 47 fireplaces, 10,000 panes of glass, 2 basements, and 3 elevators.
No, okay. All of that, fine.
Okay.
How do you get 2 basements?
I don't know.
Like, are there 2 subfloor 1, subfloor 2? Like, how do you get 2? Like,
I don't know. Like, what I imagine in my head... We gotta
get in the car.
Yeah, please. I've been trying. So what I imagine when I think about it is probably... Because this complex is so huge that there was probably 1 basement dug, and then
on the other side
away,
of the building?
Yeah, there's another basement.
Okay.
That's what I'm assuming, but I don't know. It could be multiple floors to the basement. I have no idea.
Okay.
But here we are.
That was just my hang up.
Oh, no, that's a legitimate hang up to have.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So, okay, so...
And that was just from when she purchased the property in 1886 to 1900.
86.
So, yeah.
That's...
86 to 1900. That's what, 12? 14 years?
14 years.
14 years?
Oh, that's not too long.
No, but that's still a hell of a lot of building. When it was 8 rooms when she started, and now there's 161, that's a lot. Yeah.
That's a lot of rooms.
That's a fuck ton.
That's not even a house anymore.
No.
It's like an administrative building.
Correct.
Damn.
It has stairways to nowhere, It is what it is.
Okay.
So, okay. In 1904, unfortunately, there was an earthquake that didn't completely destroy the house.
Okay.
But required...
You're in California.
Right, there's an earthquake, so 7 stories is kind of stupid, right? So, the top 3 floors had to be removed from the house for safety, because otherwise it would have just continued to go up, and then there would have been another earthquake, and it would have just crumbled.
Okay.
So, it's 4 stories today.
Okay.
So, within the house, Sarah also built 13 bathrooms, but only one of them was functional.
That's disproportionate. That's
Correct.
Disproportionate. When you have like 160 rooms and 13 bathrooms, and then only one works, that's gross.
Yeah, isn't that awful?
Yeah.
Because, what if one of the workers has to go pee when she has to go pee? Because she has 24-hour-a-day workers in there building stuff. So,
well, they can go outside.
I guess so. I wouldn't want to go pee in Sarah's house. I don't know. That's just crazy to me. Like, ooh.
I wonder, what, how that conversation would go down, right? Like, you're Sarah, and you have this, prophecy in your head that you got to keep this house being built, right?
Yeah.
How do you stare someone in the face and say, yeah, you see this spot right here, right? You see it?
Yeah.
I want you to build a staircase.
Yeah.
Floor to ceiling.
Yeah.
And then the guy goes, okay, so you want us to, knock out? No,
floor to ceiling.
Floor to ceiling, I want a staircase.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you want, to go up to the next floor? No. Staircase, floor to ceiling. How would those conversations go down explaining the madness of the bullshit being built in I want, how many fireplaces?
47.
I don't like that fireplace over there. I want you to put it over there. Okay, do you want us to take down this fireplace? No. Just put another fireplace right here.
So, even with that, she has the craziest thing where, she has a hall of fireplaces. So it's literally just one big ass ballroom with a lot of fireplaces in it. So I think the way that she would probably in my mind's eye get around stuff like that is she would start to have the conversation and be like, hey, I need you to build me 17 fireplaces, space them 15 feet apart respectively. Go. And they would say, excuse me, why? And she would go, I don't pay you to ask questions. Here's a $50 bonus. Which, is the equivalent, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, to be fair, even if she was crazy, I would probably do it because... Yeah, because...
Here's a hundy.
$26,000 a day, prospectively.
Oh, yeah, let me slip you a hundy.
Huh.
Right.
That's so much.
I wipe my tears with $100 bills. Right,
it's fine. Yeah. See,
Jesus.
It's okay. So, but no, she had very, opinionated... how she wanted things done, so she was very inspired by Renaissance art and Gothic styles. So there are a lot of those things in the house, and no expense was spared. Things were top of the line, however she wanted it. That's how it got done. Okay,
as long as that staircase from floor to ceiling was fancy, I'm okay with it.
Right, yeah, made out of beautiful oak wood. So, geez, but. On the perspective of she has so many different rooms and only one functional bathroom, she would sleep in a different bedroom every single night.
Ooh, confuse those ghosties.
Yes. So she would just bounce around different bedrooms. I don't know if she had favorites or what, but different bedroom every night. She also had specially built secret passageways to get from one room to another, so no spirit could follow her, and she would be able to confuse them to get around. Right?
This girl was smart.
Yeah, she had a lot of time to think about this. Oh. Another one of the craziest things, which kind of goes back to the spiritualist aspect, she had a seance room built in this house.
Girl.
Where she could communicate with the good ghosts, quote, good ghosts, who would tell her how to build, or could help inform how to build the house to keep the bad ghosts from being able to find her, and to keep the good ghosts happy so that they would stay around to help her.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's sweet. That's nice.
Yeah, I guess that's all right. So, unfortunately, in 1922, Sarah died from a heart attack, died in her sleep. As soon as the workers learned that she died, they just stopped what they were doing. Immediate, put the hammers down, nails still like hanging out halfway, weren't even put in all the way, and then they left.
Whoa.
Yeah, like as soon as she was dead, they were like, all right, there's no reason to keep building, bye, and just left. So at her death in 1922, the house took up 6 full acres of land. It had 160 rooms at its final completion, 2,000 doors, 10,000 windows, 47 stairways, 47 fireplaces, 13 bathrooms, which only the one was functional, 6 kitchens. 6. She had spent over $5.5 million building this house continuously for the past 38 years, which is over $80 million today.
Wait, I have a question.
I have an answer.
What was the 14 years?
The 14 years?
Yeah, that we were talking about. You said in 1900.
How long it took her to build it up the first time before the earthquake.
Oh, okay. That's the earthquake bookmarker.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the earthquake dropped the house down from 7 stories to 4, and it's still 4, just for structural integrity.
I got confused. Okay, so in 1922 is when she actually died.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So now that you know all of the history of the property, we can get into a couple of the hauntings, which there's only a few, which really disappointed me because something that, I expected to be so crazy.
Yeah, but it's crazy
what it went into.
That this woman, fled across the country to get away from a ghost.
Yeah.
That supposedly killed her precious daughter and husband.
Right. Yeah.
Like having that much faith and belief is just creepy, good.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like, what did the spiritualist have to say to her to convince her that it was William talking to her?
Yeah.
Or was it really William talking to her?
Really?
I don't know. I'm not a spiritualist. I have no idea. So, a couple of the things that people experience when they're in the house is just they're, of course, it's open to the public. There's ghost tours, or there's tours around the house, and stuff just happens to happen on the tours. More often than not, people will feel like gentle hands touching them, or like their clothes getting tugged on a little bit.
I don't like that.
Or their hair getting brushed out of their face, stuff like that.
Ooh, don't touch me.
Right? So those are things people will hear consistently. Footsteps with no source. Like there's no one else in that area of the house and they hear footsteps. Some people believe that this is one of the maids that Sarah hired to help her later on in life after she got so old that it was hard to get around and, through her crazy maze. So there's that. It's
not a house, it's a maze at this point.
Oh god, yeah, big maze. So this is a haunting that I actually got from the WinchesterMysteryHouse.com. It's one of their more well-known ones. Mm-hmm. So Clyde is the gentleman's name. He existed. He was actually a worker that worked on the house.
Okay, I thought they just named the ghost Clyde. I was like, can we not?
I mean, maybe. I'm assuming it's a documented person because they have a picture of him as a dude that worked on the house. So guests will see a man with a big mustache that's in a white worker's uniform pushing around a wheelbarrow outside, or working on the fireplace in the ballroom, in the fireplace room. And then guests are like, oh, wow, I really like the actor who is repairing, quote unquote, the ballroom fireplaces with the white overalls and the boater hat thing. And the management is like, we don't have an actor. We didn't hire anybody. That's Clyde the ghost. And then they show him a picture taken from the time frame. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's that guy. It's that one. And they're like, yup, that's Clyde. He's a ghost.
You know what really freaks me out about ghosts?
What?
You have levels of ghosts.
Yes.
You have you kind of thought you saw something, maybe you trip in, there's old ghosts that you catch on camera, you never saw it.
Right.
Then you have silhouettes and mists, and then you have a figure you think was a woman, or you think you kind of you could see something, and then you have oh, I like that actor.
Right.
Can we not know? And pushing a wheelbarrow and then
full of mulch with his little trowel,
appearing in different spaces. Actually, do
yeah.
No,
isn't that wild?
No, I hate that. I was like, oh yeah, we saw this ghost, and here's the description. No, it's too real. Let's dial it down. I like silhouettes. I like mists. Let's keep it not that real and that not see through.
Yeah, no, because he straight up people think he is a solid person. So that is the thing that I think is bananas, and that one's one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites, which also involves a workman, but a real life workman. Okay. Not that ghosts aren't real life, but you know what I mean. So flesh and blood workman.
So a person who is alive currently.
Yes. Okay. Currently alive.
Okay.
This workman was hired to do some sort of repair. So he was up on a ladder and he felt somebody tap his shoulder. and he's on a ladder, and he's like, okay, that's weird.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was about to say, yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's like, that's weird. So he turns around, and, like, nobody's there. And he's like, okay, that's really strange. Turns back, starts going to work, doing whatever he's doing. And then he feels a full hand press on his back. Like, not just, like, fingertips, like, the whole thing. And then he turns around, and nobody's there again. And he's like, I'm done. And nope, and just leaves. Because he's like, I'm not doing this. I don't know what's happening, but things are not supposed to touch you when you're on a ladder.
Whole hand. I think someone came out of that 3rd-story door.
That's what it was.
And someone was just hanging out the door trying to touch him.
That explains it. They were just playing grabby shoulder.
Grabby shoulder.
Nope. So, still to this day, there are rooms that are being discovered. So, there
What?
Yes.
What?
Because she would just build over rooms. Like, if she didn't like a room anymore, she would just close it off. She'd be like, no, just
wall it up.
Wall that bitch up. Like, I'm done. Which is crazy, right?
So I was going to ask if there's a blueprint, but I guess not.
There's not. No. Because there were no work. There was no manager over this. It was just all built on a whim.
Okay.
So Sarah would have people working all the time, doing whatever. She'd be like, okay, she would tell one person, I want you to do this. She would tell another person, I want you to do this, like in different sections of the house. So it's all cattywampus and like crazy. In this story, in 1906, Sarah was trapped in a room that night that the earthquake hit.
Okay.
So she wasn't able to leave the room until the workers came and pulled her out and like took her out of the room. So after that happened, she refused to go in there. She had it sealed off. In the past few years, someone has found it and has reopened it. And all of the original furniture was in it, which is something that didn't happen in any of the other rooms. Because once Sarah died, her daughter, or not her daughter, but a cousin, I believe, family, somebody in the...
Our relative.
I didn't write it down. Relative. Was in charge of all of her affairs, went in, took all the furniture, and auctioned that shit off. And it was gone. Everything that was in the house was gone.
But this room that's sealed off,
correct.
Obviously the furniture did not get touched.
Yes. So, on one of the first tours in that room after all the furniture and everything had been restored, the tour guide heard a really deep sigh from the hallway.
Ugh.
And when she, like, went out to get the person who was not in the room for the tour, she saw nobody, but she saw, like, a misty white figure walking away, and then another sigh. So it's speculated that that was the ghost of Sarah, who has found some solace away from people going through her house, and is like, son of a bitch, you got my room. Yeah. So, and that's the story of the Winchester Mystery House.
That's bananas.
Yeah. It's a little less scary and kind of cutesy, but here we are.
Yeah, but still, it's interesting to see, like, how paranormal can affect people and how far they can go. Like, for some people it's like, it's not real, and it's like some people it's like, this is my life, I'm spending money on it, like
$80 million on that house.
Is that
in today's money,
2020
2020 money.
That's 2020 money.
Yeah, in 1922 it was 5.5, but that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money
for anybody to do anything with.
How is that in San Jose if it's taking up 6 acres of land?
I believe it's on the outskirts. I'm not 100% certain. I didn't look at it in, like, relation to everything else.
Okay, because I was, like, in San Jose, and I'm trying to imagine, like...
where that is, what it is.
How? Because...
I'll show you pictures. It's a beautiful property. Like, it is so pretty, but, ooh, it's spooky.
Oh, a little spooky.
Yeah, it's a little spooky.
You see, like, real ghosts.
So,
nice, yeah. Okay.
Nice. We're going to have to do it again. Soon, preferably.
Next podcast.
Yeah.
So if you want to find out more information about, what we're doing or where you can find our podcast, you can definitely venture over to our website at www.haunther.com. And if you want to support us, we do have a Patreon up and going. It is patreon.com/haunther. I barely know her. I don't know if you can tell the theme or podcast name.
Yeah.
Haunt her. I barely know her.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Which I have to give full credit that Zoe came up with that name because Zoe's more creative with stuff like that.
It's just because I spitball things until it just sounds ridiculous, and then I'm like, oh, that one's pretty good.
Well, you also work at retail, so you have to think about other things other than
that's true,
not retail.
Yeah, other than not screaming. So that makes sense.
So full credit to Zoe for coming up with that name. That was awesome because she was like, "What do you want to?" I don't know. I'm not good at stuff like that. So you please. I'll fix the website and do the technical stuff. Will you please come up with the creative aspects of it?
Got it.
Thanks for tuning in for our very first episode. Hope to see you for our next one. And until then, stay spooky.
My friends.
Aunt her.
I barely know her.